you don't sleep on anybody because anybody could win the game at the end of the day, you know?
My pick for the most underrated Survivor player ever would have to be Spencer. I love that guy. He was able to get out from, the odds against him and make it to a merge, and then he still got picked off. But I, for some reason, thought they were going to bring him back for no reason at all. But yeah, it would have to be Spencer.
I think Shireen from Worlds Apart and also Second Chances is a really good Survivor player. She knows the game really, really well. And I think that she maybe gets a bad rap because she's such a super fan, but I think that she's stellar.
One of the most underrated Survivor players, I think, of all time is Tasha Fox from Survivor Cagayan. She's such a physical threat, and she just seems like such a nice human being that everybody would want to interact with. Kind of hard for her to win against people like Jeremy, but she is such a beast at this game.
Earl, one, he played in Fiji, one, but two, he didn't get any votes cast against him, and he was one of the most likable people on the cast and was a clear threat from the beginning. So being able to go through the entire game, not get a vote cast against you, then you unanimously win is the perfect game of Survivor. And hopefully I can, follow in his path.
The ever part is definitely throwing me off, but the person who comes to mind who I don't think gets enough credit is Aubrey. I think she played maybe 2 or 3 times, and I feel like she's not as high on the ranking list as she needs to be. I feel like people often seen her as someone who flew under the radar, but I think that she was incredibly strategic, and I just don't think that she gets as much credit as she should.
Vesipia. She was the first woman of color to win Survivor, and I feel like her game's not appreciated enough. I think Vesipia doesn't get enough credit as a winner. I think she is dramatically underrated, just the way she navigated that social game, especially back in season 4 when the diversity casting wasn't a thing. That was a much more difficult situation for her to navigate as a Black woman to begin with, and then to pull it off and win. I thought she did a tremendous job and is not talked about enough as one of the elite winners of the game.
But Erica from last season, she won, and I feel like from the very beginning, she didn't get as much TV time, I guess I would say. I think she was a little underrated because although she's small and she didn't come across as a very competitive or a very strong person, at the end of the day, she won the game. That's why you don't sleep on anybody, because anybody could win the game at the end of the day,
I'm gonna say Erica from season 41. She was this small, person that was kind of always in the middle and even was about to get voted off until she changed the game and came back like a hurricane and won. So I'd say she was probably the most underrated going in.
One of my favorite players to play the game that I don't think really got to be or get where he deserved was James. The guy was socially fantastic. He was relatable. He was hardworking. He provided. He was physically able to compete in any challenge. I think it was just unfortunate for him that he always had a big target on his back just because of his physique.
I think an underrated Survivor player is, this is somebody that I just love so much because of his personality, his kindness towards animals. I think he definitely had a good strategic game and he was very well liked. He's also super physical, could climb coconut trees like nobody's business. And that person is Ty. I absolutely love Ty. He's one of my favorite Survivor players, and I don't think he gets talked about that much.
One would be Suri because I love her style and the way she builds relationships, and there's something I very strongly resonate with.
Underrated. Honestly, I don't know if she's underrated necessarily, but I don't think people give Natalie enough credit for the badass that she is. Not only on her season, but also at Winners at War, just the amount of sheer grit and determination and power that woman holds. I'm team Natalie all the way, and I think that she honestly deserved the million.
Kelly Wentworth is someone who's, I wouldn't say she's underrated, but just someone who's definitely played this game insanely well and incredible. And I know she said that she has retired, but if she were to come out, I think that she would 100% should have the term Soul Survivor, because I think she's done everything but win the actual game.
Davy's pretty underrated, honestly. I think he had a really good social game. He had a really good sense of where things were, and he went out at 5, which is really close to the top. So I think he's super underrated.
The most underrated Survivor player that there has ever been is probably Mike White from David versus Goliath. I personally just really liked him because he was witty. He brought some sarcasm to the island that, you don't really typically see with a lot of contestants. I think when you're out there, you're starved, you're thirsty, you're dying of the heat, you haven't slept in days, but he just found a way to, I don't know, just like sneak in little like stings here and there. And he had a lot of sarcasm. And so for that reason, I think that he was super underrated because obviously he didn't end up winning that season, but he was one of my favorite players.
I think, in my opinion, is Yao Man. I love Yao Man. Super strategic, but also I think such a great player. But he was able to really build connections with folks, people like Dreams, and kind of trusted too much in those relationships. I just love Yao Man, and I think he played such a great game his first season. And I learned a lot from him, and just like him knowing the challenges. So I hope to be a beast like him.